Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. BobbyFi here, flying solo for my 5-and-5 plays. We have a lot of question marks, so there's a lot that's liable to change tonight, and it's going to be a wild one with a 12-game slate. So let's get into what I've got for now. Some of these things are going to be relevant later. Some may not be, depending on starting lineups and who else is out and all that stuff. But we're going to do the best we can. So let's get into it. All right. Let's start things off with the Damian Jones without Holmes, without Sabonis. Like Damian Jones, Trey Lyles should soak up the minutes. There's a chance it could be Alex Len because the matchup with Jokic, it's going to take some size. This game becomes very stackable too, by the way, and I think it's kind of an interesting thing to consider. So like, it's really Jokic just on the other side. But if Barton plays, I actually think on FanDuel he's in play. But Damian Jones is going to be hard to avoid if he's starting. It's just we don't have a ton of value yet. Also, it's the later games, so I suggest everybody who is playing value to try to get to the later games if possible, because I do think there's information we may not know. And one of them that's a big one is the Sacramento starting lineup. You can always pivot from Jones over to Alex Len should he start if you wanted to do that. But right now I have Jones and Lyles, Jones or Lyles as my guys right here. Let's talk about the next one. With no Ingram, I know Joe Val let people down last night. Only played 20 minutes. McCollum played 31. And put up a monster game. I think McCollum's the obvious play. I do think he's a great play. But I want to include Joe Val because center's strong also. I do think getting some exposure to Joe Val is a good way to get off some of the McCollum, not major chalk, but Joe Val I don't expect to be crazy owned on either side tonight. So I really like Joe Val on both sites. And you can see I have him listed on both sites right now as well. Şengün, that's more Şengün and Bagley, just the same price on DK. This is speculating that Christian Wood is going to be out again. If that happens, Şengün will be in most of my lineups. And Bagley, we're assuming that he probably starts with no Stewart and nothing else to really get in his way now. And he's really been good in Detroit. So I like Bagley a lot as well. So those are two guys in the same price range that I will be both playing together and having exposure to separately on different sites. I'm sorry, on DraftKings. We have De'Aaron Fox and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who are, in addition to McCollum, like sort of, they're similar price tier and monster upside for these guys. Fox with no anyone really, except for just Fox. I mean, we have no Sabonis there. It was already a decent matchup for him anyway, as a long shot play. Now he's a really, really strong play. And SGA, it's the same thing. Does it stay close, back-to-back, second end? But the usage has been the highest in the NBA of any player since the trade. Since we have what's his name out. Why can't I think of his name right now? The rookie from the rookie Giddey. With Giddey out though, his usage has been incredible, 37%ish. I just have a hard time ignoring him on this slate. And when we've ignored him, he's gone off. When we haven't ignored him, he's also gone off. So I really like SGA and Fox both. And then if we do get the more value, which I think we're going to have some, and you can, if you don't want to play the McCollum, Fox, Shai Gilgeous type of lineups, Joe Val, and you could include one of these guys with one of those guys, maybe two, depending on what kind of value we get. But I have it ranked on DraftKings as Giannis, Jokic, Luka. I know Giannis on the second of a back-to-back. They're playing Atlanta. I'm going to give a huge upgrade for that. I love Jokic and nobody who can really match up with him. So it's really close between those two for me. And I think I'm leaning at the moment a little more Giannis on DK. At the moment, it's really, really close between all three of these guys. I think Giannis and Jokic, just because of the matchup, I'll give a little bit of an edge to over Luka, and they're also getting Brunson back in Dallas. So I love all three, but that's how I've got it ranked right now. Damian Jones, still an awesome play on FanDuel, arguably even a better play on FanDuel at 3,600. If you're, paying up at center is going to be something a lot of people don't do because you've got Watford and Eubanks right there also. Just way too cheap at 4,000 and 4,100 respectively. I think that Eubanks might be slightly lower owned, but does have the center eligibility. Again, that would mean you're fading Damian Jones. So it's like more likely I'm going to build Jones and then Watford or Eubanks, but I think Watford is my preferred one of the two, but I do like both of them. DeJounte Murray is much cheaper over here at 10-2. I think he's awesome. And I just to keep in mind that everybody's coming back for San Antonio tonight. So it's not going to be quite as good a situation as it was last time out, but still an awesome spot at 10-2 to take advantage of. Trey, I love him in that matchup. You can pair him with Giannis on the other side, with any of those guys on the other side, actually, whether it be Middleton or Drew. But I like Giannis. It's going to be harder to get up to him than usual on FanDuel because I like some of the other plays, especially the Toronto game, which we'll get to in a minute. But I really like both Murray and Trey. I would like to find a run back for Trey, though, in Milwaukee, because I think that game environment is really, really awesome. McCollum and Valanciunas, I mentioned all the reasons why I like them over on DraftKings. Without Ingram, the usage is crazy. You can include Herb Jones as another guy in the mix of your exposure to more on DraftKings, but as your exposure to New Orleans, I think that's an interesting way to go. All right, I really like that Toronto game on FanDuel a lot more than I do on DK. You can see the pricing is much more affordable. You've got Siakam at 83, Barnes at 72, Van Vliet at 73. And I just think getting exposure to that game is a really, really good idea on FanDuel, as I do expect these guys to be owned, but I think that at least one, probably two, somewhere around 6 or 7x at a reasonable price range. And I think that's really appealing, especially like Siakam, but I do think Barnes and Van Vliet are really strong plays as well. Anyway, guys, I will be live at 5:45 Eastern time. I hope you all do well today. We got golf coming up, and let's make some money, everybody. Good luck, y'all.